don't want to talk about it.
Member
Look
Clark.
after yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Premier. Premier, the toxic byproduct of your government and Labor's cosy, supplicant relationship with the gambling industry is on its way to the Legislative Council. Debate stopped just before midnight last night, but the Elwick Hotel was still open, sucking money out of the pockets of the desperate and poor. So too was the Launceston Country Club Casino, which closes its pokies barn at 2 a.m. on a weeknight and 4 a.m. on weekends. Premier, because of your government's gambling policy and Labor's craven capitulation, the loss and suffering to gambling addiction will be multi-generational. People will lose their lives. Premier, what do you have to say to explain yourself to the people in your own electorate who are suffering right now as a result of gambling addiction, and the community sector organisation who urged you to include stronger harm minimisation measures but who you ignored?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Premier, and just getting to your feet, Premier, the debate has been had in this House, and so the overall gambling issues can be debated, but not specifically going to
That's right.
a re-debate of the bill.
Yeah.
I framed the question, so it was
Look,
in order.
Just pull me up if I stray into a space that I shouldn't. But I thank the Leader of the Greens for that question and for her ongoing interest in this matter. And look, I'll start by saying this. I think that your position on this is driven by embarrassment, and I think and I honestly think that it's driven by a little bit of cowardice, Mr. Speaker. To be frank, the reason I say that is that it is my government that has ended the monopoly, Mr. Speaker. Ended the monopoly. Importantly, Mr. Speaker, we've underpinned those small pubs and clubs in regional and rural areas and the jobs that they provide, Mr. Speaker. And we doubled the amount of money that's being spent in terms of harm minimisation, as well as Mr. Speaker, we are moving what is already one of the strongest harm minimisation frameworks in this country, if not in the world, to being world leading by introducing face recognition technology, Mr. Speaker, and also looking at smart card technology. Now, Mr. Speaker, that is what we have done. That is what my government has done. When that member was a minister, Mr. Speaker, when that member who continues to interject was a minister in the Labor Green government, when that government was held up by her vote, Mr. Speaker, what did she do when she had the opportunity? She did nothing. She did zero, Mr. Speaker. So I come back to where I started. I think that her position on this is driven because of embarrassment in respect of her cowardice when she had the opportunity to act.
On a point of order.
First of all, what the Premier says is untrue, but could you direct him, please, to the question, which is what does he have to say to his constituents and the community sector?
Well, Mr. Speaker, and I'll finish the point that I was making. Driven by the cowardice that she displayed, Mr. Speaker, when she was in government, held a vote, Mr. Speaker, that at the end of the day held that government in place and did nothing. And so I'm proud, as Premier, that I've actually taken steps and I've improved harm minimisation, Mr. Speaker, and I have ended the monopoly, Mr. Speaker. And I would say to my constituents, don't believe the fake proposition that's being put forward by the Greens, Mr. Speaker, because when they had the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, they did nothing. They did nothing, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. The Premier has just misled the House. We moved for a $1 bet limit and for casinos to contribute to the community fuel levy, both of which were blocked.
It's not a point of order. It's not a point of order, Ms O'Connor, and you know that.
Mr. Speaker, when that member was a minister, what she set out to do was not fix harm minimisation, was not end the monopoly. What she set out to do was to shut down the forestry industry, Mr. Speaker. That's what they used their vote for. That's why they propped up that government, Mr. Speaker, for 4 years, because what they wanted to do was stop the forestry industry, Mr. Speaker. Trees, Mr. Speaker, were more important than harm minimisation, Mr. Speaker. That is a statement of fact.